President Biden is applauding a better than expected monthly jobs report. The Labor Department reports the U.S. added 850,000 jobs in June. Experts predicted that number to be somewhere between 550,000 and 700,000. But despite the slight bump in unemployment, June had the highest growth of jobs this year. The U.S. has had 6 consecutive months of job gains, although some months have not been as strong as predicted, and there has been a rise in inflation. President Biden says the country is moving in the right direction.
This is historic progress, pulling our economy out of the worst crisis in 100 years, driven in part by our dramatic progress in vaccinating our nation and beating back the pandemic, as well as other elements of the American Rescue Plan. Today, the U.S. is the only major advanced economy where the OECD projections of future output are higher today than they were in January 2020 before the pandemic hit.
For more, I want to bring in Lori Bettinger. She's co-president of BancAlliance and former director of the Troubled Asset Relief Program during the Obama administration. Lori, welcome. Great to see you again. So this was a really good jobs report. Where are the new jobs being added?
Thanks so much for having me, Tanya. I agree. It's a great report. It's so nice to see. And I feel like over the past months, we've seen positive reports, but there's always a little something that holds you back. And there's certainly less of that this time. And we're seeing a lot of gains, not surprisingly, in hospitality, travel, restaurants, retail, a lot of the sectors that were really hit the hardest by the pandemic. And as we've continued to see reopenings across the country, they're the ones that are now experiencing a very rapid rebound. So it's great to see that.
We are seeing this steady job growth, which is exciting, but there are still plenty of people struggling to find work, and unemployment, interestingly, ticked up slightly. Where is this disconnect?
Yeah, it's a great point. And as you point out, I mean, we still have almost 7 million fewer people employed, now than prior to the start of the pandemic. Although I think that a number of economists and there's starting to be predictions that might start to normalize, towards the middle of next year. But I think we still see a disconnect. And as you mentioned, the unemployment rate did tick up. It looks like the number of people looking for jobs increased a little bit, but there still appears to be this disconnect between employers that want to hire people and people looking for jobs. And there's a number of reasons for that. I think that there are still people who are concerned about the health risks associated with COVID. There are still certainly a lot of people who have childcare issues that haven't been resolved. And, we're starting to see, right, that you hear more employers offering higher, starting salaries, offer bonuses. But I think that there's still employees, particularly in some of the sectors that have historically been, lower paying sectors. They're saying, is it worth it for me to go back to work? Does this job pay enough? And I think you see this really in hospitality and some of the restaurants. There are a number of people who've just decided to leave those sectors altogether. Maybe they always felt like it was a very hard area to be in. If they went back to work in the middle of the pandemic, they felt like it was a pretty challenging time to be interacting with the public. And so I think you see a lot of dislocation and a lot of people asking themselves, do I want to change jobs? And that is playing out in this disconnect.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember President Biden at a presser not too long ago was asked about this question, and he sort of leaned into the mic and said, pay them more. So right. Part of it, I guess, is also, when you really want to lure workers back that, like you said, maybe have had sort of PTSD around working at these restaurants or these sort of hospitality industries during COVID, you might need to sweeten the honeypot a little bit. So I want to ask you about inflation, because it is rising as the nation continues to reopen. How long do you think that trend will last?
It's a great question. I think it's one that everyone's asking right now on the policy side, economists. And when I think of inflation, in my mind, I think of it as, okay, my dollar can buy this much today. In a world of rising inflation, my dollar buys less tomorrow and the next day, right? So, the purchasing power of your dollar goes down. And let's look at the trends we were just discussing. For companies to hire people in a lot of these industries, they have to pay higher salaries. They have to pay, large signing bonuses. And in many cases, their own costs are rising. I think I was just talking to someone who's saying the cost of chicken wings are getting much higher. So how are they going to handle this? Either they're going to really cut their profits, or more likely, they're going to start increasing the prices that they're charging their own customers, perhaps the people dining in that restaurant. And all of these little changes and these prices going upward can lead to inflation. And I think it's undeniable that right now we are certainly seeing an increase in prices in a number of industries, a number of sectors, different types of retail and manufacturing. The question is this going to be sustained? Is it, as I think we've heard from policymakers, we just have so much pent-up demand from the past year and a half. People have saved a lot because there hasn't been as much to spend it on. People have benefited from the various government fiscal stimulus. And so is this just sort of a temporary, huge release of all of this extra cash? Or are we entering a time when prices are going to keep rising and that value of the dollar in your wallet continues to go down? But, you can't even talk about the labor market and, you need to pay more without thinking about what does that potentially mean for inflation in the long run.
Right. All related. Well, Lori Bettinger, thank you so much for joining us and shedding some insight on it for us. Thank you.
Thank you.